And for the final time in 2022, welcome in to the Otters Digital Network inside Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, Canada, for the final game of a three-game set between the Trois-Rivieres Aigles and the Evansville Otters. Yesterday had just about everything. Started off, well, I guess this whole series really, started off with a rain delay Friday that ended up postponing the game. The game never even got started. The players didn't even get onto the field to start warming up, in fact. It rained all day here in Trois-Rivieres. So they decided to move the game to yesterday, do a doubleheader. In game one of that doubleheader, it was all Aigles, but it wasn't by much. They only scored 2 runs, one in each of the second and third, in what was a very good outing for Otters starting pitcher Justin Watling. He went 6 full innings. Really a complete game. Just gave up the 2 runs on 4 hits. Struck out 9 across those 6 innings. He was very good, but the bats of the Otters could not get anything done. In fact, they only got 2 hits in the whole game, and they came in the final 2 innings of the game. They dropped game 1, 2-1 to Trois-Rivieres. Then in game 2, it was once again the Aigles who got things started early with a 2-run lead in the bottom half of the first inning. Otters bounced back in the top half of the second, evening the game at 2 runs apiece. Then in the bottom half of the third, Trois-Rivieres was able to chase Ryan O'Reilly out of the game, scoring 3 runs in the bottom half of the third inning. All 5 of the runs of Trois-Rivieres got credited to Ryan O'Reilly. He only went 3 1/3 innings, giving up the 5 runs on 6 hits. Also gave up 2 walks and was just able to manage 1 strikeout in the game. Then the Otters turned up the boosters in the later innings. In the 6th, for the second time in the game, Ronnie Allen Jr. drove in a pair of runs on a base hit, giving him 4 RBI on the day and bringing the Otters to within 1. The score then 5-4. And then in the top of the 7th inning, with their backs against the walls, the Otters did it for the second time this week. It started off with an RBI single from Justin Felix, who was again a hero in a final inning this week. He drove in Zach Biermann to tie the game at 5 runs apiece. Then 1 batter later, the right fielder Trevor Mckinley had a 2-run single that brought in both J.R. Davis and Justin Felix to give the Otters a win in game 2. Because there in the back half of the 7th inning, Logan Sawyer came in and was really good. Struck out 2 against the 3 batters he faced. Really did not give Trois-Rivieres an option at all in the bottom half of the 7th inning. It was really impressive to see Sawyer do, once again, what we know he's on this team to do, close out ball games. It's his 4th save of the season and 30th of his professional career. So a big number for him to hit as the team gets ready for the rubber match in today's game. The Otters have only won 1 series all year long, and that was the sweep against Empire State. This is a time to get a sweep or get a series win over a team that you need to be getting a series win over, a team that you have been better at most of the fundamentals of in the season thus far, but since coming to Canada, this Otters team has really struggled. So this is a big challenge for them. They'll have Gossman on the mound, a man who has been effective in the games he's pitched thus far and enters the game with no record officially, but he has gone a total of just over 12 innings, striking out 12, walking just 2, a batting average against of 178, averaging under 1 walk or hit an inning. He has been really good. Excited to see what Gossman can do this afternoon. They are getting closer and closer to starting lineups here. We have not heard what the starting lineup is for Trois-Rivieres yet. They have not disclosed it. But we do have the Otters starting lineup, and we'll run through that right now. Batting first yet again will be the third baseman, Andy Armstrong. He'll be the Edward Jones leadoff into the game. He'll be followed by the left fielder, Zach Biermann, and designated hitter, J.R. Davis. Then into the middle 3 of Justin Felix, who's catching today, Trevor McKinley playing right field, and George Khalil playing short. And it's rounded out by the center fielder, Miles Gordon, playing in that 7 hole. First baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr., and finally, the second baseman, Julius Furrier. So once again, it's the exact same lineup we've seen in the last couple of days, just with a couple of defensive changes. Allen Jr. returns to first. Felix returns behind home plate. Biermann is going to take over out there in left and give J.R. Davis the day off from fielding. He'll be the designated hitter. Just got the final warm-up pitches from Gossman out there on the mound. He's starting to give a hug to the rest of his pitching staff, get his support out there, and we are just getting about there to Game 3 of this three-game set. A chance for the Otters to finish this week in Canada at 500, which would be a huge win considering the guys that were not able to make the trip. I mean, this is a team that doesn't have Elijah Macalusso, Jeffrey Baez, Dakota Phillips, some of the pitchers like Joe Riley, Samson Abernathy. There is a lot of big names missing from this team of guys who are not able to make the trip. So if you could win today, go 500, get home and try to pick up some wins against Lake Erie in this midweek series. You can put yourself in a good track to keep yourself in the picture of what things look like in the standings. We'll cut to that right now and take a look at what things look like coming into the day. Schaumburg retains their lead there in the West Division. Three-way tie for second. Gateway, Washington, and Windy City. They're followed very closely by Evansville and Lake Erie, who are each 2 games back. Joliet at 6-8, another game back. And then Florence, 2 more games back there in the final hole in the West Division. As for the East Division, we've got our first team at 10 wins, and there's the Quebec Capitals, who have just been unreal to start the year. The Otters can proudly say that they were responsible for one of those 3 losses, but that's all that they can claim. And Quebec out to an 11-3 lead out there in the East. Though not too far behind them are the Ottawa Titans, who we got to see earlier this week. They have put a thrashing on Gateway so far, a couple of walk-off wins even this week. That's followed by the half game back of Tri-City, another half game back in Sussex County. That's a Sussex County team that won their first 6, I believe, and then have really stumbled since then. And they're followed by the 4 squads who are under 500 here in the East Division. New Jersey picked up a win to move up into 5th at 6-7. Trois-Rivieres in 6th with their 6-8 record, half game behind them. New York Boulders at 6-9. And then Empire State still searching for win number 1, 0-14 to them. Familiar face alert, Zach West, who is on the spring training roster for the Otters, has been signed by Empire State, so we'll see what that infielder can do with the Grays. He had a strong spring training, there just wasn't enough availabilities in the infield slots for him. Managers are meeting at home plate, and now they are heading back to their dugouts. They will announce the Aigles to take the field, and then we will have both national anthems, O Canada and Star Spangled Banner, being sung here from Stade Kiarama, the beautiful stadium here in the heart of Trois-Rivieres, which is surrounded by the Grand Prix Trois-Rivieres, a FIA caliber Grand Prix track that wraps around this stadium. Really cool. Give it a Google here in our break just to take a look at what it looks like. It is a really cool place here. It's going to be a bit sad to leave after today, but we are just a couple minutes away from first pitch between Trois-Rivieres and Evansville here on your home for the Otters, the Otters Digital Network. I'm Matthew Wilt, excited to bring you another edition of Otters Baseball right after this on the Otters Digital Network. Well, I tell you what, there is just something different about a crowd singing "O Canada" in unison, in French and English together. It is just something else. I have been absolutely blessed these last 6 days to get to call baseball here in the great country of Canada and get to interact with the Canadian people, both in Ottawa here and here in Trois-Rivieres. Totally different atmospheres there in Ottawa, Ontario, and now Trois-Rivieres, Quebec. This is so French over here. I mean, everything is French Canadian. It's hard to understand people. It's hard for them to understand us. But it has been so cool to get to interact with the individuals here in the great city of TR and get to spend some time in a culture and a place that's just so much different from home. I'm so thankful to the Evansville Otters for this opportunity. This has been really cool. Excited to be back home, though, this week as the Otters face the Lake Erie Crushers. That series starts on Tuesday night with first pitch set for 6:35 on Tuesday night. Taco Tuesday. Why would you not want to be at Bossy Field? You can get your ticket now at EvansvilleOtters.com, or you can give our front office a call, though it might be hard to reach them today with the food truck festival going on, but you can try it, 812-435-8686. You want to make sure you get your seat there in one of our field boxes. I'd just hop on EvansvilleOtters.com and pick it up there. Taco Tuesday on Tuesday night, Senior Connection on Wednesday, and we finish it off with a Thirsty Thursday. Great series between Lake Erie and Evansville, who are locked right there together in the 5-hole of the standings. That's not till Tuesday. First, we've got Trois-Rivieres and Evansville coming at you next year on the Otters Digital Network. Pleased to be bringing you the coverage. Matthew will bringing you play-by-play like I will be all season long. Otters are going to get it started with Andy Armstrong, Zach Biermann, and J.R. Davis once again. Armstrong was one of the few who struggled to get on base yesterday. In fact, didn't get on base at all. Starts out with a called strike one on the outside low corner. The 0-1 on the way. Hard swinging strike two, and a pitch almost in the exact same place, low and away. And they got him to chase there. So the count now at 0-2 for Andy Armstrong. Pitch on the way. He chops it fair to the right side, picked up by the first baseman Gauthier, and he steps on first pretty simply to recover the first out of the inning. And now the left fielder Zach Biermann will make the walk up. Biermann had 2 hits in 4 appearances yesterday, scored a run there towards the end. In fact, the run he scored was the game-tying run, and then he was followed by 2 more that ended up being the winning runs for the Otters. Zach Biermann has been an incredible accusation for this team. I mean, yesterday's game 1 was the only time he's played in a game for the Otters and not reached base safely, which is really hard to believe. He starts off with a called strike one on the lower half of the zone. The 0-1 cranks it fair right at the second baseman. He barely has to make a step to his right. Ball is misplayed by the first baseman, but he picks it up in time for out number 2. So now the 3-hole hitter, J.R. Davis, makes the walk-up. Davis has had a rough go of things in the last few games. He needs a game that he can break out in. He only has 2 hits in his last 6 games. First pitch he sees here is right across the heart of the plate for a called strike one. It's Wes Dunkel behind the plate today. The umpire on the left side of the infield will be Pearson Tahuka, and on the right side of the infield, Matthew Feisa. Otters are wearing their gray tops, gray bottoms with the script Evansville on front and blue numbers on the back. As J.R. Davis fouls one out of play, way down the right side and out of the stadium. Aigles are in their black tops, white bottoms. The black tops have red script Aigles written across the fronts with small red numbers on the front, big red numbers on the back. 0-2 the count to J.R. Davis with 2 outs here in the top of the first. Called strike 3 in the high outside corner. J.R. Davis is going to stand in there and argue a bit, but it won't matter. That's how the top half of the first ends. 3 up, 3 down for the Otters. Bottom half of the first inning coming at you next here on the Otters Digital Network. We'll run you through the defensive alignment for the Otters. And who's on the mound? Out in the outfield, Zach Biermann in left, Miles Gordon in center, Trevor Mckinley out and right. Across the infield, Armstrong at third, George Khalil at short, Julius Purrier at second, and Ronnie Allen Jr. mans first base. Behind the plate is Justin Felix throwing to him today. Austin Gossman. Gossman officially on the season is still looking for that first result. 0-0 with a 1.46 ERA in his 2 starts. He's gone just over 12 innings of work, struck out 11, has a 178 batting average against. He has been rock solid in his couple of starts. In his last one against Quebec there last week at home, he had a no decision going 6 1/3 innings, allowing 1 run on 5 hits, walking just 1. He'll be a righty throwing once again here in this series, as all 3 starters for the Otters have been righties. And the lineup he'll go up against for Trois-Rivieres will be Joe Campagna, David Gauthier, Rafael Graudu to start off, followed by the middle 3 of Carlos Martinez, Steve Brown, and Connor Pana. The final 3 being Canis Aigles, Michael Daganaz, and Dustin Macalusso. So Joe Campagna makes the walk-in. He had 1 hit in yesterday's doubleheader. That came in game 2. Only reached base 1 other time, and that was via a walk. Gossman, long looking towards home, and he's ready to go with the first pitch of the game. Pitching out of the stretch up there on the mound. First pitch for the Otters is low and inside, but on the corner for a called strike 1 against Joe Campagna. No balls, 1 strike. Infield a little shifted to the left. This ball is cranked out towards center. Miles Gordon makes a 6-7 foot trot behind him, if that. Didn't have to move too far to pick up the first out of the inning. So now the first baseman, David Gauthier, steps up. Gauthier reached base just once in yesterday's second game. Had a single in the first game, but his second game walked and then had a couple strikeouts to end this game. So here comes the opening pitch to David Gauthier, and it's right along the low inside corner for strike 1 called. A lot of weight between pitches for Gossman up there. That's all right as long as you're throwing strikes. The 0-1. Right across the outside corner of the plate. He's attacking both sides, and he's up in the count 0-2 now. No balls, 2 strikes. Austin Gossman looking for his first German American Bank strikeout of the game. The pitch, way outside. The OTA won't chase, at least not this time. Not a bad crowd here today. Probably in the 500, 600, 700 range. A 1-2 is swung on and missed, low and inside. That's the first German American Bank strikeout of the game for Austin Gossman. And because of that, there are now 2 outs, and that brings up Rafael Glaudu, the center fielder, to the plate. Glaudu is 0 for 6 in the series so far. Has 2 strikeouts. He's only reached base once, and that was on a fielder's choice. The first pitch is a bit low for ball 1. First time that Gossman has not started with the first pitch strike. Gorgeous day for baseball. First pitch temp is 81 degrees. Sun is out. Not too many clouds up there in the sky. Swinging strike 1, even if it counts at 1-1. Alongside there being just a few clouds up there, there's about a 12-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight out towards right center field. We'll see if that aids hitters at all. 1-1 the count to Rafael Glaudu. Kick and delivery from Austin Gossman. It's chopped towards Purrier at second. He'll play it on 3 hops over to first. And not really making an effort to run down there was Glaudu. It's 3 up, 3 down for the Aigles as well. And we head to the second inning. Still looking for run number 1 here from Trois-Rivieres. Top of the second inning, coming at you here from Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, Canada, for Game 3 between the Aigles and the Otters. Otters trying to win a series for just the second time this year. The only series win they have is the sweep over Empire State. But against New Jersey, Quebec, and Ottawa, they were able to just win 1 game each of those 3. Starting off the top of the second inning, Justin Felix, Trevor McKinley, and George Khalil. Justin Felix struggled in our first game yesterday, 0 for 3. Backed it up with a 2 for 4 performance in the second game, and he starts off with the first pitch single to left field right here. Good work there to sting one past the third baseman, Daganaz. And it's a leadoff single for the catcher, Justin Felix. That'll bring up the right fielder Trevor Mckinley, who has had a remarkable week here in Canada since joining the Otters. In fact, he enters the game batting .294, 5 hits in 17 at-bats. He had the 2 game-winning RBIs for the Otters yesterday. Now he's got a shot with a runner on and no outs here. First pitch is a bit low and inside for ball 1. Sam Belisle Springer waits on the mound and then sends home a pitch again a bit low for ball 2. Long waits. Seen some patient pitchers so far today as the pitch stays up high for ball 3. Justin Felix with a pretty good sized lead there at first. Takes the extra couple jumps and it's a called strike 1 on the high outside corner here on the 3-0 count. So the count advances to 3-1 now. 3 balls, 1 strike to Trevor Mckinley. Felix rushing towards second. The strike. The throw out there in time. Oh boy, what a throw from the catcher, Carlos Martinez, to gun down Justin Felix on his way out to second. Felix had a good jump, but he just kind of dove right into the throw as the throw landed right there on the first base side of second base. And then it's a called strike 3 on McKinley on the next pitch. McKinley can't believe it. That pitch was high and inside, but it must have just squeaked past the corner. So it started as a leadoff single. Now the Otters are looking at 2 outs for George Khalil. Tough start to this game for the Otters after giving themselves some hope with a single there. First pitch for George Khalil, high and inside for strike 1 right along the corner. The 0-1 is chopped foul back into the netting, and quickly George Khalil finds himself down in the count 0-2. Khalil has reached base twice in this series, both of them via hit-by-pitch. He leads the team with 7 hit-by-pitch occurrences. On the 0-2, he takes the ball down near the dirt for ball 1. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitch on the way already. Sends it to the left side, through the infield, just past the diving shortstop. And it's a 2-out single for George Khalil, his first hit in this series. And it's the first hit in Canada for George Khalil since Game 1 against Ottawa all the way back on Tuesday. Since then, Khalil has reached base 3 times, and they were all via hit-by-pitch. So now with 2 outs and a runner on first, Miles Gordon steps in. Miles Gordon had a double yesterday, his 50th career professional double. Atta boy for him. It came in game 348 of his professional career. In that time, he's got 189 runs scored as well, and 133 RBI. So he's closing in on a couple of big milestones. Takes the first 2 pitches outside for ball 1 and 2. Check swings here on a ball just a little bit low, and it's called ball 3. So 3-0 the count from Miles Gordon. He's looking to earn a free pass with 2 outs here. The 3-0 just catches the high outside corner for strike 1. The strike zone always expands just a little bit on a 3-0 pitch. That one probably needed a bit of an extension in order to be called. The 3-1, this one is chopped up towards left field, and it lands foul by about 2 feet. Lands right at the feet of the Evansville bullpen out there. Not too far away from what probably would have stayed in the park and been a double for Miles Gordon. His double yesterday was a ground rule double over there in left field. Left field only goes 303 feet out there, so it's very short. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Miles Gordon. 2 outs and a runner on first. The runner will go, and it's popped up and out of play by Gordon. So another pitch will be needed. Pleased you're joining us here on a Sunday afternoon for baseball. The 3-2 for Gordon. Swinging strike 3. Otters get 2 separate hits in the second inning. Can't make anything of either one of them. And we head to the bottom half of the second. Still scoreless in Trois-Rivieres. Bottom half of the second inning about to come your way on the Otters Digital Network. A spring forward as we remind you that the Otters return home on Tuesday night as they face the Lake Erie Crushers for the first time this season. Also the first time they'll face a team within the West Division. That game is set for 6:35 first pitch from Bosse Field. Why would you not want to come out? Taco Tuesday. There'll be tacos, nachos, frozen margaritas. Man, it's going to be a great night at Bosse Field as we finally get to see some West Division competition. They will face the Crushers once again on Wednesday at 12:05. A noon game for Wednesday's Senior Connection. All individuals 55 years of age or older can get into the game for a discounted price. And then finally, the series wraps up on Thursday the 2nd at 6:35 for Thirsty Thursday. That will round out the homestand for the Otters before they head off to face the Gateway Grizzlies in a weekend series next weekend. If you want to buy tickets to that Lake Erie series this week, you can buy them at EvansvilleOtters.com right now. I'd love to see you out at the ballpark. It's going to be a fun time. Ready to go at the bottom half of the second, and starting us off will be the catcher, Carlos Martinez. Martinez had the first RBI for the Aigles yesterday with a sacrifice fly in the first inning. First pitch here is right down Main Street for a called strike 1. Martinez rounded out his day with a single in the 5th inning of yesterday's game. The 0-1, swinging strike 2. Man, Austin Gossman had him chasing in the dirt. A lot of time between pitches here for Austin Gossman. Trying to stay patient up there and make sure he's picking out his right pitches. The 0-2 is low and away. Martinez will not chase this time. And Felix kind of has to dive over there to bring it in. Still a 1-2 count here with no outs in the bottom half of the second inning. No one on for Trois-Rivieres. Gossman has his pitch and readies himself on the mound. The 1-2 kick and delivery. Chopped foul to the left side. A ground ball that stayed well foul. Nice play by the third base coach over there. A lot of kids in attendance today. And whenever you see the mascot appear, you just see a trail of kids follow that thing. He was having a great time last night with all of those kids throughout the ballpark, hyping people up, getting involved. A 1-2 is sent foul, almost the exact same place, chopped to the left side, grounding. And you can probably hear in the background now the bass drum and cymbal. It almost feels like a soccer game, like a European soccer game here, with the amount of crowd participation that they try to have here. There's a guy down there with a bass drum and a couple other drums with him, just trying to keep the fans engaged. Almost every pitch, he's got the crowd clapping or chanting or doing something. It's really cool. The 1-2. This one stays a bit low. Martinez lets it go by, and it's ball 2 near the dirt. Count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes with no outs here. Gossman ready and waiting on the 2-2. Pitch on the way. That one's lifted up towards right field. McKinley chasing after it and makes the catch about 7 or 8 feet shy of the warning track out there for out number 1. Dangerous pitch there from Gossman. He left that off-speed pitch hanging up in the zone. But his defense backs him up, and now the right fielder Steve Brown walks in. Steve Brown had 3 RBIs yesterday, an RBI single in the first, and then a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. Gossman ready for the first pitch of this at-bat. Steve Brown enters the game batting .353. First pitch to him is right across the low inside corner for a called strike 1. Infield is shifted just a tad bit to the left. Outfield shifted a bit left as well. Gossman tries to attack on the low outside corner, but misses by a few inches, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. One and one. Pitch on the way. Chopped right back up and past Gossman into center field for the first hit of the game for the Aigles. So now the left fielder, Connor Panis, will walk up to the plate for his first chance at the plate in the series. Panis did not play in either of the first 2 games. He's a left-handed hitter. First pitch is low and outside for ball 1. Really big lead over there at first for Steve Brown. Steve Brown had a stolen base yesterday in game 1. The 1-0 to Panis. Sent to the right side of the infield. Gossman will play it on a weird hop and just go to first for the sure thing out. But it does advance Steve Brown to second. So now the designated hitter, Kenneth Aigles, steps up. Aigles did not play game 2, but in game 1, he went 0 for 2, reaching on an error and a walk, while also striking out. So now Gossman has to look behind him with a runner up there on second base. Steve Brown has a decent-sized lead up there. First pitch is low and away for ball 1. Felix does a nice job to keep it in front of him. Brown's got quick legs, so he'll take advantage of any opportunity he can to sneak over there to third. Runner on second with 2 outs and a 1-0 count for Canis Aigles. But time is called on the mound by Austin Gossman just to get himself resituated and reset the count, or reset the pitch calls with his catcher Justin Felix. The 1-0. Catches the high outside corner. Nice work there from Gossman on the slider. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Gossman with just a little bit of a closed stance up there on the mound. A look out to second. The 1-1. Hit sharply at Khalil at short. He makes a nice play to bring it up into his glove and sends over to first for the final out of the inning. Aigles strand the runner at second, and we are still looking for our first run here from Trois-Rivieres. Top of the third, coming at you on the Otters Digital Network. I'm Matthew Will, joining you for all 96 Otters games all season long, and then hopefully a couple playoff games as well. Still a long way away from that. This is just game 15 on the schedule, and it's also the 6th and final game for the Otters Canadian road trip. They head back home as soon as this game ends. The team hops back on the bus and go as far as Ohio tonight, get home tomorrow. First pitch is outside and called ball 1 to Ronnie Allen Jr., who had his best game in an Otters jersey thus far yesterday. Racked up 4 RBIs with a 2-run double in the second, 2-run single in the sixth. It was a lot of fun to see him finally find a groove and be efficient for the Otters. His future with the team, of course, kind of up in the air. A 1-1's outside for ball 2. I say that because as a catcher, there's not really a place on this team right now between Justin Felix and Dakota Phillips once this team heads home and picks Phillips back up. So it's possible Ronnie Allen Jr. could maybe make a case to be a first baseman. Of course, you have Zach Biermann to do that job. Of course, you could also move Biermann back to the DH spot, but Steven Sinsley's been playing first, and he'll be picked back up by the team when they get home. A lot of what-ifs. Ronnie Allen Jr. sharply hit towards the second baseman, who bobbles it, and because of the bobble, won't get it over to first. That should be credited as an error, but nope, they're going to give it a hit. We've seen a couple of interesting hits or error calls here so far this week. So for the time being, that's a single for Ronnie Allen Jr. to lead off the third inning. And with it, the second baseman, Julius Furrier, will head to the box for the first time in this game. Had his best game for the Otters yesterday with 2 walks and a strikeout in an 0-for-1 game. But unfortunately, that's really the best he's had since he put on the Evansville colors. 1 for 11 this week with an .091 average. Showed bunt the first time up, showing bunt again. The 0-1. Able to bunt it to the left side, but it gets fouled. Now he's going to have to be defensive and can't really bunt. Otters opting for some small ball in this game, which makes sense. It's kind of been what they've needed this entire week of Canada. With the solid starting pitching we've seen, a lot of games decided by 1 or 2 runs. Remarkably, though, an 0-2's outside for ball 1. Somehow, the Otters have not seen an extra innings game yet this year. And of course, because they haven't seen an extra innings game, they also have not seen a sudden death game, which is the brand new overtime decider here in the Frontier League, as a 1-2 stays outside for ball 2. That sudden death is going to be really fun to watch when the Otters get themselves in a scenario with it. If you make it to the 11th inning, still tied, the home manager gets to decide if he wants to be the defending team or the pitching team or the hitting team. And you have a runner on first. If you score the run as the hitting team, you win. If you don't let him score and you're the pitching team, you win. So no multiple innings, no multiple sides of inning, 1/2 inning. I'm really excited to see it play out in person. We've seen a couple of instances thus far across the league. The 3-2 is sent to the left side and through the infield for a base hit for Julius Purrier. Just his second base hit for the Otters thus far, and that keeps this inning rolling along. No outs and runners on first and second now as we head back to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Andy Armstrong. I feel like just about probably all but 3 hits in this entire series have been right between that shortstop and third baseman over there on the left side of the infield. Interesting here, as instead of the catcher stepping out to make the call to the infield, it's the third baseman who made the signs out there. Playing really shallow are the infielders, laying down a bunt as Armstrong to the left side. They'll throw over to first. It bounces in there, and it's there in time. Man, Armstrong had to jump over the first baseman to avoid the collision. But Armstrong does his job. A sacrifice bunt moves both runners. And the Otters now have men on second and third with just 1 out. And one of the dangerous hitters in this lineup, Zach Biermann, walks to the plate. He's 0 for 1 in this game and has not been able to find the RBI column since the team has been up here in Canada. But he did have a hit in yesterday's 7th inning that jump-started the comeback inning for the Otters. First pitch for him here. Way inside, just about hit him. Man, he just about took that one to the right knee. Able to hustle out of the way. And the count's 1-0 to Zach Biermann. Second pitch he sees, and he just sends it grounding foul to the right side. It will end up towards the dugout, or the bullpen of Trois-Rivieres over there on the right side. Ready for the 1-1 to Zach Biermann. No, 1 out, runners on second and third. Lifts this one up and out of play to the left side. Julius Purrier stands on second. Ronnie Allen Jr. on third. Just 1 out for the Otters in the top half of the 3rd inning, trying to be the team that strikes first. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Biermann, and he fouls this one back into the netting. The Otters have not been the first team to score in any of their 5 road games so far this year, but it has made a whole bunch of difference if they can be the team that scores first. As the 1-2 is again sent grounding foul to the right side. Oh my, that ball actually ends up inside the tube that the rain tarp sits on. So the count's still at 1-2. Like I mentioned, scoring first huge for this club. 4-2 when they score first, 3-5 when the opponent scores first. The 1-2 is way outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Zach Biermann, trying to grab a couple RBIs to start off the scoring for the Otters. And it's a low inside pitch called strike 3. Biermann's really upset that he didn't take a swing at that. He also doesn't like the call. And he mentions a couple of unpleasantries on his way back to the dugout. A lot to argue there. That pitch was really far inside for him. But regardless, he sits down on a called strike 3, and it brings up the DH, J.R. Davis. Davis 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking in this game. 2 outs, runners on second and third for the Otters. First pitch high and outside. A catch in the corner for called strike 1. Davis wasting no time to get himself back in the box. Waiting on the pitch from Sam Springer. An 0-1 again on the high outside corner, but that one is left alone for ball 1. Count is evened at 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1's lifted up and into the netting behind home plate. So Davis falls down to a 1-2 count. And Belisle Springer is now essentially a strike away from getting himself out of the inning. A glance out to second, now the 1-2. This one's sent on a line down towards left field. Oh, it goes just off the top of that short wall, so it won't be a home run. Instead, it's a RBI double for J.R. Davis. 2-run score for the Otters, and they have scored for the first time in this game, and for the first time all trip up here to Canada, they have scored the first runs of the game. That missed a home run by about 2 inches in left field. So close for J.R. Davis. Then there was a really close at second as Davis tried to leg it out to a double. He did get there in time, however, so it is a 2-run double for him. There with 2 outs in the top half of the third inning, and the Otters have a lead. Now, the catcher, Justin Felix, who has a single already in this game, steps up with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs. First pitch for Felix. Ooh, hard swing there, and he was right underneath the ball. Hefty cut sends him to 0-1 in the count. Really solid outing here for the fans at Trois-Rivieres. Filled the stadium up nicely today on a Sunday afternoon. Gorgeous day for baseball, so I don't blame them. The 0-1. Oh boy, Felix lifts this one out towards left center. Chasing back is Gladu at the wall. Gone! And the Otters scored 2 more. Justin Felix has his second home run of the road trip, and the Otters lead is at 4. Put that one over the left center wall that probably plays more like 390 with how tall that wall is, but it's probably only about 365 out to left center. Justin Felix has given the Otters a 4-run lead in the top half of the third. Exactly what the Otters needed in this game. Giving Austin Gossman a lot of insurance to work with. First pitch for Trevor Mckinley, and he fouls it straight back into the catcher's glove for strike 1. McKinley has a strikeout looking so far in this game. Next pitch for him just barely graces the inside half of the plate. He takes the count to 0-2. Sends one chopping foul to the right side, just gets fouled. It finally rolled to the foul side of that line, maybe 7 or 8 inches shy of first base. It was really close. Had it stayed fair, it would have been a pretty easy play for the first man, Gauthier. Fouls another ball off, and the count stays at 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes to Trevor Mckinley. Swings at a pitch low and away for strike 3. And after the top of the third, the Otters lead by 4 after a 2 RBI double from J.R. Davis and a 2-run home run from Justin Felix. We head to the bottom half of the third with the Otters leading 4-0 on the Otters Digital Network. Bottom half of the third inning coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. And for the third time this road trip, Justin Felix has put in some quality work. A 2-run home run doubles the already 2-run lead that the Otters had. And they carry a 4-0 lead into the bottom half of the third. And most importantly, give Austin Gossman a lot of runs to work with there on the mound. He's already been so good this year on the mound. But now that he's got some runs in his back pocket, the stress can go down a little bit. Really excited to see how Gossman can control the rest of this game. First pitch on the way to Michael Daganaz. Right across the heart of the plate for a called strike 1. This is the first time that these two teams will play a 9-inning game. Because of that rain delay Friday, both of yesterday's games were 7-inning games. So we'll see maybe some more pitchers get involved today. The 0-1 to Daganaz. Catches the high outside corner, and Gossman's up 0-2. Also, other than Watland yesterday, we haven't seen a pitcher really carve through the order in any of the games here against Trois-Rivieres. On both sides, it's been a lot of ground balls, fly balls. Oh boy, what a called strike 3. I thought for sure that was outside. But Austin Gossman will take his second German American Bank strikeout of the day. I was going to leave that one alone for a second and let you know it was a ball 1 on the outside, but the umpire saw it a little different than I did, I guess. So now the 9-hole hitter for Trois-Rivieres, the Dustin Macalusso, the second baseman, walks up to the plate, his first time in this entire series. He's batting 172 on the season so far, 5 for 29. First pitch falls out of the zone on the outside corner for ball 1. Gossman opting with an off-speed pitch there. Count at 1-2. Sorry, 1 They had to get the scoreboard reset now. A 2-0 count for Dustin Macalusso. Gossman trying to hustle through some of these pitches now. Now misses on the 2-0. This one way outside. Now, of course, there's a reason I'm up here and not on the field. I don't have the experience in professional baseball. I've never played professional baseball. But I wonder how much really speeding up the way that you approach things on the mound affects things, because he went really quick between pitches there on that at-bat, and it was a 4-pitch walk to Macalusso. But the rest of the game, he had been really slow and methodical up on the mound. So I don't know how much that really has to do with the success a pitcher has, but it makes me wonder. Back to the leadoff man for Trois-Rivieres, Joe Campagna, who is 0 for 1 with a fly out to center, his first time at the plate. The opening pitch just falls out of the zone. It looked like it was just going to carve that low outside corner. Instead, it is ball 1. One ball, no strikes. Pitch on the way from Gossman. This one is lifted really high and to the foul side of right field. And McKinley will haul it in for the second out of the inning. So now the first baseman, David Gauthier, who is 0 for 1 with a strikeout, makes his way to the box. And for Gauthier, he enters the game batting .333 on the season. A little bit smaller of a sample size than a lot of guys on the team, though. 7 of 21 at the plate. First offering to him works just a little bit too far inside and in the dirt, a little bit low as well for ball 1. So a 1-0 count to David Gauthier. 2 outs here for the Aigles, runner on first. 1-0, just barely misses on the outside. Maybe it did get the outside corner. A throw down to first is not in time to get Dustin Macalusso. And because of the quick throw out to first, we weren't exactly able to see if that was a ball or a strike. It was a strike, so the count at 1-1. So Gossman sends home a 1-1. This one way outside. Ball 2. Count it 2-1. Dustin Macalusso still stands on first here with 2 outs in the inning. Otters have built themselves a 4-run lead. They're in the top half of the third. The 2-1. Swinging strike 2 evens the count up. Wow, Gossman pulled the string there, slow to pitch down and sailed it by David Gauthier. Deuces are wild. 2-2 count, 2 outs. 1 runner on for Trois-Rivieres. The 2-2 hit sharply to the right side, but stays foul. So we remain at 2 balls and 2 strikes. A little cloud cover here is taking the temperature down to the mid to low 70s, and it feels pretty nice now. Gossman, a little bit longer between pitches now. Here comes the 2-2. Works way inside. Felix throws down to first yet again and almost overthrew first. Ronnie Allen Jr. had to make a big leap to keep that throw close. Three and 2 to David Gauthier with 2 outs in the bottom half of the third. Payoff pitch. Sent on the line to Purrier. It gets past him at second. Miles Gordon charges at the ball and is able to keep it in front of him. But it's a two-out single for Gauthier that puts runners on the corners now for Trois-Rivieres. So now the center fielder, Rafael Gradu, makes the walk. Gradu is batting .434 on the season. Unreal from him. That batting average is good for second in the league. Takes a called strike one to start off the count. The 0-1 on the way from Gossman. This one's chopped foul back in to feel it. And the count's now at 0-2 with two outs. In fact, Gradu's 23 hits are good for the second most in the entire league. And he backs it up with only 7 strikeouts in 53 at-bats. Really a tough guy to get out. Gradu looking at an 0-2. Trying to add to that strikeout number is Austin Gossman. The 0-2. Hit on a line to the second baseman Furrier. He makes a great grab. Throw to first is not in time. And it's an RBI single from Rafael Gradu. So grabbing their first run of the game now is the Aigles. On a sharply hit ball, Furrier did good to get his body to the ball and get the ball in his glove, but it almost looked like he got just a little stuck in there and he wasn't able to get it out of his glove in time to make a throw, and by the time he did, it was way behind the runner over there. So that'll bring up the 4-hole hitter, Carlos Martinez, who had a long fly out to right field his first time up. Starts off with a pitch that gets away from Justin Felix, but he's able to go grab it in time that no runners advance. Gossman at 35 pitches here in the third inning. Probably a little higher than he'd love to be at. So a 1-0 count to Carlos Martinez with runners on first and second for Trois-Rivieres. A 1-0 catches the outside corner, evening the counts at 1-1. Gossman opted to go a little bit quicker on that pitch. Playbook's a little bit more open for him on a 1-1. No glance towards second, and fastball catches the high outside corner, putting him ahead in the count 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Austin Gossman's trying to close out this inning. Ball hit sharply to the left side, but foul. And we'll need a couple of seconds to go retrieve that one as it bounced into fair territory. So the count's at 1-2 still for Carlos Martinez. He's got runners on first and second. Aigles have scored their first run of the game, but they still trail 4-1 here in the bottom half of the third. A 1-2. Hit sharply to left field, just foul, and the crowd was ready to explode here. That was hit on a hard line out towards left. Otters are lucky that one cuts itself to the left side. So once again, the count remains at 1-2. Runners on first and second with 2 outs. Pitch is lined into right field. One runner's going around third. It gets past the right fielder McKinley. And by the time he picks it up, a runner advances to third as well. So it's another RBI single for Trois-Rivieres. And quickly, the Otters have watched their 4-run lead turn into a 2-run lead. And that's going to cause a meeting up there on the mound for Max Peterson, the pitching coach of the Otters. A couple individuals stand up and start to stretch for the Otters in the left field bullpen. Can't tell exactly who yet, though. Macalusso scored on the Rafael Glaudu single, and now David Gauthier has scored on the Carlos Martinez single. And there are still runners on first and third. Trois-Rivieres in the bottom half of the third. The lead now just 2 for Evansville. First pitch to Steve Brown, who had a 2-run home run yesterday. Hard chop at the first pitch he sees. Just fouls it into the glove of Justin Felix for strike 1. Pretty small leads for both Glaudu and Martinez. The 0-1. Hit foul into the netting on the right side of the infield. And Gossman has a shot to end the inning once again. Another 0-2 count. Taking a while to get back into the box was Steve Brown. Now he's ready to go on the 0-2 pitch from Austin Gossman. 0-2 is in the dirt, low and away. Brown does not opt to swing at it, so the count remains, or goes out to 1-2 now. Still runners on the corners. 2 outs, a 1-2 count to Steve Brown. Austin Gossman's trying to end the comeback bid right here. Again with a pitch outside. Felix does a nice job to jump out there and keep it in front of him. But the count now at 2-2 with 2 outs and 2 on. And 2 across so far for Trois-Rivieres. Steve Brown's dug back in, ready for the 2-2. Kick and delivery from Gossman. Sit towards Armstrong at third. He plays it on 2 hops. Long throw to first, got it in time. And the Otters finally in the inning, but not before 2-run score for the Aigles. They bring the lead back down to 2 in favor of the Otters. We've got the top of the 4th inning coming at you next here on the Otters Digital Network. Top half of the fourth inning, Otters are going to try to keep a hold of their 2-run lead. It was 4 runs after that impressive top of the third inning. It all started off with a single from Ronnie Allen Jr., then another single from Julius Purrier. A sacrifice bunt moves them both, and with 2 outs, J.R. Davis drove in both Allen Jr. and Purrier. And then Justin Felix brought home J.R. Davis and himself with a 2-run home run. And that's how we have the 4 runs for the Otters. So due up in the half inning for Evansville, George Khalil, Miles Gordon, and Ronnie Allen Jr. Khalil gets started with a ball outside, 1-0 the count. Now a pitch on the low inside corner. Evens are counted, a ball and a strike for George Khalil. Khalil got his first hit of the series in his first attempt. Tried to bunt here with a 1-1 and it goes foul, so quickly he's down to a 1-2 count. I've heard that there is a chance that we could see Brett Adcock in this game in relief. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition or not. I really liked him as a starter there against Ottawa. Count out to 2-2 now after a ball stays a bit low for George Khalil. The 2-2 stays way outside and the count's now full. This one's sent on a line to the left side, and once again, another base hit for the Otters in between the shortstop and third base. That has been the sweet spot for the Otters in this series thus far. They pick up another base hit over there, and another leadoff base hit for George Khalil. So now the center fielder, Miles Gordon, makes the walk up into the box. Miles Gordon so far with a strikeout in the second inning. Gordon, one of 2 lefties back-to-back in this lineup for the Otters. Him and Allen Jr. round out this bottom piece with a couple of left-handed hitters. Nice to see them add some change-up to the 9 batters throughout the game. First ball's outside. Here comes the 1-0. This one's lifted out towards center. Chasing after is Gladu towards the wall and makes a catch as he falls towards the warning track. And retreating back to first is George Khalil. Good contact for Gordon, but it just doesn't carry enough. Now with 1 on and 1 out, the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr., heads to the plate for his second chance of the day. 1 for 1 with a single in that third inning. He came around to score later. First pitch on the way. Breaking towards second is Khalil. Throw out there in time. And for the second time today, the Otters have a runner gunned down on his way to second. Khalil was out by a mile out there. And now there's 2 outs and nobody on for Ronnie Allen Jr. Sends one on a line towards the first baseman, who will step on first, and just like that, the inning's over. A leadoff base hit turns into nothing for the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the fourth inning, still with a 2-run lead in favor of the Otters. You're on your home for the Otters on the road, the Otters Digital Network. Apologies there, an audio issue. Had us not putting out any audio there for a couple of at-bats. Connor Panis led off with a hit-by-pitch, and then Canis Aigles on a 1-2 pitch sent one over the fence to tie this game at 4 apiece. A 2-run home run has evened this game. So now with no outs, Austin Gossman has given up the 4-run lead his offense gave him. It brings up the 8-hole hitter, Michael Daganaz, the third baseman. A ball outside and then a foul tip has the count evened up at a ball and a strike. Well, that was the one thing that the Otters really didn't need in a situation like this. Finally had a pitcher who was going pretty solid, and you had a strong offensive inning to give your pitcher some leeway for the first time this entire road trip. Then a tough couple of innings. Another ball inside takes the count to 2-1, and Gossman quickly looking like he's just starting to miss more and more. A couple individuals starting to stretch for the Otters out there in left field now. So it counts now at 2-1. Gossman sends it home. This one's lined out towards center. Gordon won't have to move too far for it, and he hauls it in for finally the first out of the inning. So back and forth so far as we sit here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. The game is tied at 4 runs apiece. The 9-hole hitter, Dustin Macalusso, steps up for the second time in the game and second time in the entire series. He walked his first time up, came around to score on the RBI from Carlos Martinez. First pitch to him. Solid contact, but it's foul to the left side and gets towards the dugout of the Otters. Oh, the count to Dustin Macalusso. Gossman taking his time before the 0-1. Another ball chops foul to the left side, almost the exact same place. And quickly, Macalusso finds himself down 0-2 in the count. Gossman quickly takes the mound, but now is when he starts to take his time, looking in for his pitch call. Here comes the 0-2. High outside corner, called strike 3. Finally, the third German-American bank strikeout of the game for Gossman. And now with 2 outs, the leadoff man, Joe Campagna, steps in. 0 for 2 with a fly out to center and fly out to right. This game has been turned on its head after the Otters had got themselves out to a 4-0 advantage. Another ball sent sharply foul to the left side. And it's an 0-1 count here for Joe Campagna. Austin Gossman retakes the mound. Waiting on the 0-1 pitch. Sends it that way. It's put into play. Past the shortstop, Khalil. And with 2 outs, the Aigles pick up another hit. First hit of the game for Joe Campagna. And now the 2-hole hitter, first baseman David Gauthier, will make the walk in. 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout thus far. Two outs. And the ball's chopped towards Allen at first. He'll toss it to his pitcher, Gossman. He'll step on first for the final out of the inning, but not before a 2-run home run for Canis Ejo ties our game at 4 runs apiece. We head to the 5th inning, all even at 4 runs. Here on your home for the Otters, away from home, the Otters Digital Network. Top half of the 5th inning coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. Starting off the Otters will be Julius Purrier. 9-1-2 due up in the half inning. Purrier picked up a solid hit there in the 3rd inning. Came around to score later on. Now he takes a called strike, and the count evens up with the ball and a strike. Man, Sam Beliza-Springer really wanting to hustle through the parts of the game now. Quick 3 pitches, 2-1 to Julius Purrier, and here comes the 2-1 pitch. That one rides high and inside. Purrier just tries to get out of its way, and while he does, it ends up hitting the end of his barrel for strike 2. Should be 3-1, instead it's 2-2. Julius Purrier will have to get defensive. A 2-2 is sent on a line towards the second baseman, who pulls it out of the air for out number 1. So now it's the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Andy Armstrong. 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt and a ground out to first base. Hoping to see Andy Armstrong keep developing into this reliable hitter. Man, it's going to be a tough job for Andy McCauley to take this team back to Evansville and move the lineup around, because they're starting to get really consistent. Armstrong breaks his bat on a pitch sent right back towards the pitcher. It's off the first in plenty of time, and it's 2 up, 2 down. Armstrong will likely return back to the 7, 8, 9 area of the lineup once Gary Mattis retakes the 1 spot. So just like that, there's 2 outs, and Zach Biermann makes the walk to the plate. Biermann's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. Biermann got 2 base hits in yesterday's game. Other than that, he's been really cold this series. Starts off this count with a strike called on the high side of the zone. Quickly, here comes the 0-1. That's low and away, evens the count at 1-1. Here comes the 1-1. That one's hit right back up the middle. Almost snagged by the pitcher, but instead it makes its way all the way out into center field, and it's a 2-out single for Zach Biermann. his first hit of this game. And that's enough to bring in the designated hitter, J.R. Davis, 1 for 2, with a 2-run double in the third and a strikeout in the first. Davis has seemed to have really up and down year thus far. Was really good in the 9-game homestand on a couple of those nights, but then here in the last 6 games prior to today's, just had 2 hits in that 6-game stretch. Starts off with a pitch up high, and it's flips a bit too high for ball 1. The fastball there from Sam Belize-Springer. Biermann with a pretty small lead over there at first. As the 1-0 comes home. That one gets way out of the zone. And they're out now at 2-0. Davis, another one of those guys that can just about send a pitch anywhere out there. A lot of the time you're going to see him pull towards the left side, but he can push it to the right side of the outfield as well. He does it right here. Sends one medium depth to right field. The right fielder Brown is underneath it, and he falls. He got lost in the sun. Davis is going to make his way to second, and there's now runners on second and third with 2 outs. And there was a close play there at second, as the shortstop Campagna thought for sure he had tagged out Davis going into second. Because of it, there's going to be a discussion between the umpire out there, Tahuka, and the manager for Trois-Rivieres. See if they give that a hit. Likely an error. No, they're going to give Davis a double. Thought for sure that would be an error with the right fielder just losing the ball. There's now runners on second and third with 2 outs, and Justin Felix, who is 2 for 2 in this game, has a chance for some more RBIs. He's been the man thus far in the last few games. Had the 3-run home run all the way back against Ottawa that won their game in that top of the 9th inning. Scored the game-tying run yesterday. He lets the first pitch go by for a called strike on the high outside corner. Oh, 1 to Justin Felix. Runners on second and third with 2 outs. This one stays awfully low, evening the count it up at a ball and a strike. Don't forget that the Otters head home after this. They will face the Lake Erie Crushers, the first West Division opponent the Otters will see all year. That'll be on Tuesday night at Bosse Field. We'd love to see you at the ballpark for Taco Tuesday. It'll be a ton of fun out there. 6:35 first pitch. Gates open at 5:30. Get your ticket now at EvansvilleOtters.com. Hard strike there for Justin Felix, but it's sent foul into the netting in front of the dugout for the Otters. The count is now at 1-2. See if Felix can keep himself defensive at the plate. One and two, the count to Justin Felix. And time is called before the pitch can be sent home. The catcher, Carlos Martinez, is the one who asked for it. J.R. Davis stands on second, Zach Biermann on third, after back-to-back two-out base hits. Justin Felix is trying to keep that line moving. The 1-2 for Felix. Lifts this one up and out of play. It'll land on top of the seating area here at Stade Kiarama. Count remains 1-2 with 2 outs here for Justin Felix. long wait between pitches. And here comes the 1-2. Again, a foul into the netting behind home plate. Felix staying defensive. We remain tied at 4 runs apiece in the top half of the 5th inning. Sam believes Springer taking his time on the mound. The 1-2 to Felix. Swinging strike 3, and the Otters cannot retake the lead here in the 5th inning. They leave 2 on as we head to the bottom half of the 5th. Here on your home of the Otters on the road, the Otters Digital Network. Fitting song brings us back to the bottom of the 5th inning. Show goes on, and the Otters are going to have to let the show keep going on after not being able to bring in either Biermann or Davis with 2 outs there. Huge opportunity lost for the Otters. We remain tied at 4 as we head to the bottom half of the 5th. 2 up for the Aigles de Trois-Rivieres. It'll be Aigles, Carlos Martinez, and Steve Brown. First pitch, a swinging strike 1 on the off speed from Gossman. Nice pitch selection there. Glaudu is 1 for 2 with an RBI single and a ground out thus far. The 0-1 is sent really hard and foul down the right side. It'll end up in the bullpen of the Aigles. Quickly to count at 0-2 in favor of Austin Gossman. The 0-2 pitch stays a bit low. So the count now at 1-2. Gossman was trying to get a man to chase there, like he's done just about every time he saw an 0-2 count so far today. But the Aigles have been really good about laying off on those. A 1-2. Swinging strike 3, he gets him there. The 4th German-American Bank strikeout of the game. So Carlos Martinez due up next. Also 1 for 2 so far in the game with an RBI single and a fly out to right. 1 out, nobody on with Trois-Rivieres in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Rubber match here. Winner of this one wins the series. And both these teams would love a series win. Sent hard towards Khalil at short. What a snag! A throw over to first. And Ronnie Allen Jr. has to run off first base in order to make sure that the ball doesn't get past him. But, oh my, that would have been an unreal play had Khalil got a little more behind that throw. He made a long run to grab that over there at short. It'll be an infield single for Carlos Martinez as Steve Brown walks in. 1 for 2 for Brown, a single and a ground out in this one. First delivery on the way. Huge swinging strike 1 for Steve Brown on a pitch that broke low and away. Austin Gossman. Another opportunity here where he's just taking his time before the pitch. Readies himself up there on the bump. And here comes the 0-1. Tries to again go low. That one ends up bouncing off the plates and into the glove of Felix for ball 1. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Otters are back in action at home on Tuesday night as they welcome the Lake Erie Crushers to town for the first time. 6:35 first pitch. 5:30 are when gates open there at Bosse Field. Love to see you out there for a midweek game. First time we get to see division opponents this year. The 1-1. It's fouled away to the left side, gets back to the netting. And Gossman finds himself ahead in another account. But this is where he has seemed to struggle. Really finishing out batters in this game has been a tough ask for him, especially in the later couple innings. This will be a great chance for him to get himself back on track. Pick up his 5th strikeout of the game. The 1-2. Hit hard to the left side, to second for 1, to first for the double play. In time, no! Beating out the run to first was Steve Brown. What a run for him. No reach on the fielder's choice. So the inning almost ends there. So the fielder's choice lets Steve Brown advance to first. And with 2 outs, Connor Panis will make the walk-in. 0 for 1 with a ground out and a hit by pitch in his first couple opportunities. Ball chopped to the right side, well foul. And it's 0-1 quickly for Connor Panis. Time is taken here. Looks like the runner there at first just had to retreat back. Took him a little longer than usual. Steve Brown with a pretty good lead there at first. And here comes the 0-1. Nope, first they're going to throw over to first. It gets past Allen Jr., but he was able to get enough glove on it that it only got about 3 feet past him. So the runner will not advance. No balls, 1 strike to Connor Panis. Pitch coming home. Sent right back up the middle, gets past Khalil. No, Khalil got a glove on it. How did he do that? The throw to first is late. But for the second time this inning, George Khalil has somehow got to a ball in the infield. And by getting to that, it saved Steve Brown from rounding second and getting to third. So at least kept the base runner at bay, but it's another infield single. And there's now runners on first and second with 2 outs for Trois-Rivieres. little bit longer of a wait than usual between batters as Kenneth Aigles steps up. He had the 2-run home run that tied our game. Chops one foul to the left side, ends up heading into the dugout of the Otters on the third base side. So an 0-1 counts right away for Kenneth Aigles. And a balk called on Austin Gossman. He stepped off, and then they went ahead and awarded both runners a base. Gossman didn't seem to argue it too much. Didn't look like too much of a movement, but it must have been enough. So now with 2 outs, there's runners on second and third for Kenneth Aigles. The 0-1 accidentally chops foul to the right side, so an 0-2 count. Boy, would this be a tough way for Gossman to give up a couple of runs. No balls, 2 strikes. Austin Gossman trying to get himself out of the inning here. The 0-2, kick and deliver. Sent towards Khalil at short. He'll play it on 2 hops. The throw to first. And plenty of time, and no runs will come across after the balk on Gossman. We've played 5 complete innings, and we are still tied at 4 runs apiece here on the Otters Digital Network. Top half of the 6th inning coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network. We're still tied at 4 runs apiece. And the Otters are going to hope to have something to say about that. Trevor Mckinley, George Khalil, and Miles Gordon due up here in the top half of the 6th. Trevor Mckinley will start us off. He has 2 strikeouts in the game this day. First pitch he sees, he chops back into the netting for strike 1. Then a pitch comes across for a called strike 2. Quickly 0-2 to Trevor Mckinley, who's trying to avoid a 3rd K on his score sheet. But he'll strike out for the 3rd time today. A swinging strike 3 now brings up George Khalil, who is 2 for 2 with 2 singles in the game. And for George Khalil, it is the 2nd time all year he's had a multi-hit game. Almost gets hit on the left elbow for ball one. A 1-0 slider catches the low outside corner, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Again, attacking that low outside corner is Beliezel Springer, and he gets the called strike two. Now a 1-2 count. Set right back up the middle, and Beliezel Springer pulls it out of the air, sends it over to first, and what should have been another single for Khalil ends up being a ground out to the pitcher. So now with 2 outs, the center fielder Miles Gordon is due up next. Gordon 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout. This is where we need to see Miles Gordon pick up the torch. 2-out hits have basically been the mantra for the Otters all week long since they have made the trip here to Canada. The 1-0. That one looks good for a strike, but it must have been just a bit low. It was also on that inside corner, so it's just given as ball two. A 2-0 is almost in the same place, and that one is called strike one. That one must have been raised just a tiny bit. The 2-1 to Miles Gordon. Hard swinging strike two. Came up way empty-handed on that swing. The sun now completely blanketing the field as a 2-2 comes home for Gordon, way inside, and it's a full count. Only the second or third time all day that we've seen the whole field covered in sun. A couple of clouds in the area have kept it pretty cool, now up to about 85 degrees here in Trois-Rivieres. The 3-2, sent foul to the right side. So we will stay all together at full count, 2 out. Gordon steps in, ready for the full count pitch. Again, chopping one foul back into the netting. Good work from Gordon to keep himself alive in the count, stay defensive. Three balls, 2 strikes. Again, a foul ball for Gordon. That was more of a hefty swing. The other ones looked more like defensive swings. That one was a little bit more aggressive. Full count, and the pitch stays outside for ball 4. Only 2 out. Miles Gordon will head to first for free. That'll bring up the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr. He's 1 for 2 in this game with a single and a ground out. But I tell you what, yesterday he was impressive. A 2-run double and a 2-run single gave him 5 RBIs in the game. Gonna have a meeting up there on the mound for Trois-Rivieres. They bring in the whole infield. All I can see from here is that Sam Beliezel Springer just keeps nodding. So he must be saying, let me handle this, I've got it. There is an arm that's warming up for the Aigles out there in right field. But due to their numbers being an interesting font, I can't really tell what the number is out there. So they're going to go ahead and stick with Sam Beliezel Springer after the 2-out walk, and it'll bring up the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr. Worth noting is that Beliezel Springer is at 84 pitches. A throw over to first. Gordon back in plenty of time, however. Still even at 4 runs apiece in the top half of the 6th inning. Again, a throw over to first. Again, Gordon's back in time. Nearing the 2-hour mark in this game. We had moved pretty quick through a couple of innings. Now things have started to slow down a little bit more. First pitch for Allen Jr. He gets a hold of one, sends it out towards right field, and it's going to drop for a base hit in front of the right fielder, Brown. He'll stay at first, and there are now runners on the corners with 2 outs. Big-time hit for Ronnie Allen Jr., who is making or at least trying to make a name for himself in the back half of this road trip. Runners on first and third with 2 outs as Julius Purrier makes his way to the plate, and for Purrier it's been the complete opposite. He has really struggled until just last night. He got a couple of walks, has a single in this game so far, but he's still really looking to get his footing and hit a sweet spot. Hard to imagine that Purrier stays with the team when they go back to Evansville unless they have a place imagined for him. Gary Mattis probably retaking that second base position. He takes called strike one on the low inside corner to start the at-bat. The 0-1 again on the low inside corner, and now it's an 0-2 count for Purrier. There's runners on first and second. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Ronnie Allen Jr. in motion over there at first on this pitch. The 0-2, he doesn't go. It's sent towards the shortstop on 2 hops. Weird throw for him over to first in time now. And that ends the top half of the 6th inning. Another opportunity with 2 outs that the Otters are not able to capitalize on. We head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Still tied at 4 runs apiece here from Trois-Rivieres. Bottom of the 6th inning, coming at you here next on the Otters Digital Network. Due up for the Aigles, Michael Daganaz, Dustin Macalusso, and Joe Campagna. First pitch is outside ball 1 from Austin Gossman. Gossman has had to compete in the last couple innings to keep himself alive with things. Another pitch way outside, 2-0 count now. There is an arm warming up for the Otters out there in left. Can't exactly tell who it is. Looks like it's probably Jacob Bowles. The 2-0. Right across the heart of the plate. 2-1 now the count. Two balls, one strike. Gossman able to put one in there where he causes contact for Daganaz, who just fouls it away. It's now a 2-2 count. Upon another glance, it's Parker Brahms out there in the left field bullpen, which kind of makes me think that Brett Adcock must have taken Parker Brahms' spot in the starting rotation. Not a super big surprise there, as Parker Brahms was a bullpen guy last year. Just missing on the outside corner is Gossman. It's now a full count. But we have seen Parker Brahms struggle just a little bit in a couple of his games, so it might be nice to see him be a bullpen arm and let Brett Adcock take over that 5-hole in the starting rotation. The 3-2, up high, ball 4, and it's a leadoff walk for Michael Daganaz. So now the 9-hitter, Dustin Macalusso, who is 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk. Austin Gossman is starting to take a little bit more time between pitches, which can mean one of two things in my mind. One, he's just trying to make himself a little more calm, or two, he's trying to give his bullpen arm just a little extra time. Showing bunt right away was Dustin Macalusso. He ran right through that and a couple of feet towards first base. So it's officially a swinging strike one because they say he got too far around on it. Macalusso enters the game batting 172. 0-1 count to him. Austin Gossman kicks and delivers. Again showing bunts, pops up to the right side, and it'll actually get out of play and into the seating area on the first base side. So now an 0-2 count for the second baseman, Dustin Macalusso, trying to avoid his second strikeout of the day. Gossman sends home the 0-2. Sent on a line towards Khalil. To second for 1. To first. Got it in time. It's a double play turned by the Otters. Good work there from both Khalil and Purrier to make that one look efficient. A 6-4-3 ground into double play puts the Aigles at 2 outs as they welcome the leadoff man, shortstop Joe Campagna, to the plate. First pitch to Campagna. He lets go by on the high outside corner for a called strike 1. Still even at 4 runs apiece. Waiting for someone to be the hero. An 0-1, sent on a line towards Khalil, and through Khalil's leg, goes off his glove. Knowing the way that they've scored the rest of this series, they'll probably score that as a single. That's a play that Khalil should make, though, every time. Picks up his glove just a little too much, and they will actually put it down as an error on George Khalil. So right after turning a double play, Khalil misplays the ball and allows a runner here with 2 outs. That'll bring up the first baseman, David Gauthier, who's 1 for 3 with a strikeout, a ground out, and a single. First offering, low and inside, ball 1. Gauthier batting just over 300 on the season, considering the game. The 1-0. Again low, this one on the outside corner. 2-0 now the count for Gossman. Will the error come back to haunt the Otters? That'll be the question we have to look at. A 2-0 from Gossman. Sent on a line past the first baseman, Ronnie Allen Jr., and into right field. There'll be runners on the corners now with 2 outs. So at least right now, that error on Khalil haunting the Otters just a bit. Max Peterson looks like he's about to step out of the dugout. And he will now. So Max Peterson, the pitching coach, making a trip out to the mound for the Otters. No sign yet that he wants to make a pitching change, and now he does. So after an error on Khalil, allowed a runner to get to first, a single from Gauthier has runners on the corners with 2 outs, and that will end the day for Austin Gossman. And he's going to hope that the relief man can keep this game where it's at. We'll take a break for the warm-up pitches, let you know who it is right after this on the Otters Digital Network. Stuck here in the bottom half of the 6th inning, a pitching change needed for the Otters. And they're going to rely on Jacob Bowles to come in relief. Bowles appeared in yesterday's game, went 1 2/3 innings of work, giving up no runs on 1 hit. He struck out 1 in that time as well. Really, his job is simple. You need 1 out. Worry about the next inning from him a little bit later. He has got to get this last out and keep the game tied at 4 runs apiece. So stepping in will be the center fielder, Rafael Gradu, who is 1 for 3 with an RBI single, a strikeout, and a groundout. Bowles taking his time before he sends home the first pitch of his outing. It's on the way now. Works high and inside. They say no, he did not go around, so it's ball 1. As a check swing there from Rafael Gradu was held up in time. One of the biggest moments of this entire series right here. The 1-0 from Bowles. Chops foul to the right side, count evens up at 1-1. Does look like Gateway is finally going to get a win against Ottawa. They're up 4-2 in the top of the ninth. As we look through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard, Joliet leads Sussex County 4-1 in the top of the sixth. We'll get some more scores in just a moment. 1-1 the counts. Pitch on the way from Bowles. Just misses on the high inside corner. So it's 2-1 now on the count. A couple more scores for you. They just got started between New York and Windy City. Empire State trails Lake Erie 3-1 in the top of the sixth. And there are four more games on the schedule. Joliet and Sussex County have game 2 of a doubleheader. Florence is at Quebec, New Jersey at Washington, and Tri-City at Schaumburg. The 2-1. Oh my, just misses on the outside edge of the zone. Not sure where. Didn't miss by too much. Now a 3-1 count in favor of the hitter Rafael Gladu. A walk would load the bases. The 3-1, high and outside, ball 4. And the first batter that Bowles faces, he walks, and the bases are loaded. So with 2 outs, Carlos Martinez makes the walk up to the plate. He is 2 for 3 with 2 singles. One of them has an RBI with it. And he's got a really hard hit ball to right field that ended up being caught on the run by McKinley. Bases loaded, 2 outs, tied at 4. First pitch from Bowles. Sit on the line, past the third baseman Armstrong. 1-run scores. Going to be a play at the plate for the second, not in time. Play out at third, not in time either, and 2-run score on an RBI single from Martinez. Bolston on a line past the left fielder, or the third baseman, Andy Armstrong. Goes out into left field, and 2 score on the RBI single from Carlos Martinez. And for the first time in this game, Trois-Rivieres have a lead. Runners remain on the corners with 2 outs as the right fielder Steve Brown makes his way in. 1 for 3 with a single, a ground out, and a fielder's choice. He did reach on the fielder's choice. First pitch to him across for a called strike 1. Steve Brown looking at an 0-1 count with runners on the corners. The Aigles just took a lead. The 0-1. Hard swing on a strike 2. He came up empty-handed on that swing, but had he made contact, that would have been a really solid contact. Oh, 2 count for Steve Brown. Jacob Bowles desperately needs to get an out here. Here comes the 0-2. Across the heart of the plate for a called strike 3, ends the half inning, but not until a 2-run RBI single from Carlos Martinez gives Trois-Rivieres the lead as we head to the 7th. Pitching change here in the top half of the 7th inning for the Aigles de Trois-Rivieres. They bring in Tyler Luneke, and with that, it will end the day for the starting man, Sam Beliza Springer. Springer ends after 6 inning works, giving up 4 runs on 10 hits, striking out 7, walking just 1. First pitch to Andy Armstrong, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, is a called strike 1 from Tyler Luneke. The 0-1, high and outside. Armstrong's able to lay that one off, and count evens up at a ball and a strike. A 1-1. Luneke's waiting a little bit longer between pitches. Arming one to the left side is Armstrong. Picked up by the third baseman Daganaz over the first and 20th time for out number 1. So with 1 down, the left fielder Zach Biermann makes his way to the plate. He's 1 for 3 with a single, a strikeout, and a ground out. First option for Zach Biermann on the way now. He sends one hard towards the second baseman, who makes a play with ease. Macalusso made that one look really simple. It's 1 pitch, 1 out against Zach Biermann. 2 up, 2 down to start the 7th inning for the Otters. So now the designated hitter, J.R. Davis, makes the walk up to the plate. He's 2 for 3 with 2 doubles in the game. One of them brought in 2 runs. First pitch to J.R. Davis is called strike 1, right along the top line of the strike zone. No balls, 1 strike for J.R. Davis. Really wide stance for him there in the plate. Takes the ball up high, evening the count at the ball and a strike. The 1-1 count. Hard swing from Davis. He ends up on one knee after the swing. He's down in the count 1-2. Davis steps back in. Behind in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kick and delivery. Just a bit low, and the count evens up. That's one that J.R. Davis needed. Now he's got to redeem himself, staying defensive on the 2-2. The 2-2 pitch. Hard swinging strike 3. Davis chased that one way high and out of the zone for the 3rd out of the half inning. It's 3 up, 3 down for the Otters for just the 3rd time all day. We head to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Trois-Rivieres leads this one 6-4. Bottom of the 7th inning. Connor Panis will lead us off here for the Aigles. He's 1 for 2 with a single, a hit by pitch, and a ground out. Retaking the mound for the second straight inning of work is Jacob Bowles. First pitch seen is sent bouncing foul to the right side. It'll end up in the dugouts of the Aigles. Another man warming up for the Otters out there in left field. I believe that one's Jake Lancet. The 0-1. Lifted up towards center field. Gordon's going to have a long way to run for this, but he finally makes the catch in right center for out number 1. It'll bring up the designated hitter, Canis Aigles, who's 1 for 3 with 2 groundouts to the shortstop and a 2-run home run. One out. Bases are empty here for Trois-Rivieres. First offering here, lifted way up to the right side, out of play. Ronnie Allen Jr. making a run after it, but it was just too far away. He could not get there in time. He was backpedaling, and not there. And it's just a really long strike 1 for Canis Aigles. So 0-1 the count. Jacob Bowles retakes the mound. A little bit of a wait before the 0-1. Pitch on the way now. High outside corner, catches it. Strike 2. One of the things I think that Bowles does really well is he has 2 different windups that he'll use. One of them is a really slow step back and then a throw, and then one is a really quick step back and throw. There's the quick one. Just about got it past Aigles, but he was able to just barely get a piece of it, send it back into the netting, stay at 0-2 on the count. Bowles' year started really tough in the game all the way back against New Jersey in the resumed game. He struggled in that. Other than that, he's been rock solid in the games he's appeared in for the Otters. The 0-2 for him. The ball is lifted out towards center. Gordon's really having to chase after that one. To the warning track, and it's over the wall. Somehow that thing just kept carrying out there. Gordon seemed to have a play on it, but not this time. A solo home run has given Trois-Rivieres another insurance run. And it's the second home run of the game for Canis Aigles. Max Peterson's making the walk out there to have a talk with the pitcher, Jacob Bowles. Now he points out to the bullpen, and he's going to make a pitching change. Looks like it's going to be Jake Polancic who makes the move in. I'll let you know who it is for sure when we come back. Otters have given up another run here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. They trail by 3. Have to get something going soon. So Jake Polancic it is. He'll check in for the Otters to try to get him out of the 7th inning as they've given up another run on a solo home run to Canis Aigles, the second home run of the game for Aigles. Just 1 out here in the bottom half of the 7th. Otters are threatening to go 2-4 on the road trip if they lost in this one. So Jake Polancic is the man coming out of the pen. Polancic's last appearance was there in the middle game against Ottawa. He received the loss, giving up the only run of the game. The 1 run on 2 hits in his 1 inning of work. He struck out 1 in that. And that was his first loss of the year, taking him to a 1-1 record. Otters have some work to do here. First pitch to Michael Daganaz, and he sends that one way out there, but it's fouled by quite a distance on the right side. That was a hefty swing. The 0-1. This one's in play, but it won't even make it out of the infield. Andy Armstrong makes the play, just about works over his head, but he's able to haul it in for out number 2. So with 2 outs, the 9-hole hitter, second baseman Dustin Macalusso, digs in. He is 0 for 2 with a walk, a strikeout, and he grounded into a double play in the 6th. Polancic is just a giant there on the mound as the first pitch is outside for ball 1. Polancic stands 6'3", 210. The 1-0 for him. Hard swinging strike 1 evens the count at a ball and a strike. Just past 2.5 hours on this one. Otters scored all 4 of their runs to start things off, and the last 7 have been scored by the Aigles. Polancic attacks the zone again, and it's a called strike 2. 1-2 the count with 2 outs. Polancic trying to get the Otters out of this 7th. Right now they're down to their last 6 offensive outs to get themselves back into this one. The 1-2 just misses on the outside corner, evening the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Lake Erie heads to town this week. The Otters and Crushers face off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Buy your tickets now at EvansvilleOtters.com. We'd love to see you there. Polancic misses on the low parts of the zone. That one almost in the dirt, actually. So the count's now full. Wes Dunkel, the home plate umpire, needs a second there as he got a little dirt in his eyes. So now we're ready to go with a full count. Pitch on 2 outs. The 3-2 swung on and missed. And Jake Polancic gets his first German-American bank strikeout of the game. Gets the Otters out of the inning, but not before a solo shot from Canis Aigles has lifted the Aigles lead to 7-4 after 7 full innings. Listening to Evansville Otters baseball right here on the Otters Digital Network. Otters only have 6 offensive outs left to work with if they'd like to get themselves back into this game. Starting off the top of the 8th will be Justin Felix, Trevor Mckinley, and George Khalil. Not a bad 3 to have come up, except Trevor Mckinley is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. But the Otters have got to get something going quickly, now trailing by 3. The infield is playing rather deep for Justin Felix here. Outfield playing just a little bit slanted to the right. First pitch for Felix, near his feet, low and inside, ball 1. Felix is 2 for 3 with a single, a 2-run home run, and a strikeout. The last 2 runs the Otters scored were courtesy of Mr. Felix. A 1-0 for him. Hard swing there. He was way out in front of the changeup. Now a 1-1 count for him. Felix digs back in quickly. And here comes the 1-1. Gets a hold of this one. Sends it out towards left center field. It'll drop and get all the way to the wall. Felix is digging for second. And it's a stand-up double to lead off the inning for Justin Felix. Much needed for the Otters there. Trevor Mckinley had the game-winning RBIs last night. A 2-run single in the 7th. It was his 3rd hit of the series. He'll be due up next. He's 0 for 3 with a trio of strikeouts so far. But first, a pitching change is going to be needed, it appears, for Trois-Rivieres. So we'll take a break and let you know who's coming in for him right after this. Otters trying to dig back into this one. They've got a runner on with no outs in the top half of the 8th. So Josh Smith, who is listed on the roster as a right-handed pitcher, is taking the mound, and he's throwing left-handed. Josh Smith enters the game with a 13.5 earned run average on the season. Just went 5 1/3 innings of work thus far for him in the young season. He will look to keep the Otters at bay after a leadoff double from Justin Felix. Otters trail by 3 here in the top half of the 8th inning. And Trevor McKinley will head up to the plate. Trevor McKinley, 3 strikeouts so far in this game for him. That can't cloud what he's done in the first 2 games of the series. 3 hits. One of them, the game-winning RBIs last night in the top of the 7th inning. First pitch for him, it's way up high, and he is caught swinging up there for strike 1. Really quiet here inside Stada Kiarama as the 0-1 heads home for McKinley. High again. This one looked like it was too high, but it was right in the sweet spot for a called strike one, or called strike two. Oh, 2 to McKinley. He lets it go by low and in the dirt for ball one. Good pitch choice there from Josh Smith. The Otters have struck out on some of those in this series thus far. The 1-2 on the way for McKinley, and he's caught swinging, and he sits down for the fourth time in the game via a strikeout, a golden sombrero for him. But one of the hottest hitters on the day for the Otters is George Khalil, who's 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a ground out. This is when they need him to come through with another one, at least bring the Otters within 2. Felix stands out there on second, 1 out, and the first pitch to George Khalil's on the way now. That one's taken a bit low for ball one. Long wait for Josh Smith on the mound. Here comes the 1-0. That one misses on the outside edge. So carving around right now. And it's a 2-0 count favoring George Khalil. 2-0 is fouled off to the right side, all the way over the seating area and back into the parking lot. Two balls, 1 strike. Khalil's trying to keep this 8th inning going for the Otters. But they need another comeback effort. Again, fouls the ball into the netting to the right side. And we're all knotted up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Josh Smith has the pitch call he wants. A glance out to second, and here comes the 2-2. Again, fouling back into the netting is Khalil. Seems every time Khalil has 2 strikes, he puts 2 or 3 into the back netting here behind home plate. Developed himself into a pretty good defensive hitter. Two balls, 2 strikes. Kick and delivery. Sent right back up at the pitcher. It falls out of his glove, however. They'll throw over to first in time and at least get 1. Smith had to make a heads-up play there. So after a leadoff double from Justin Felix, his 3rd hit of the game, it's back-to-back outs for the Otters. Now with 2 outs, Miles Gordon has to be the guy who gets something going. Gordon is 0 for 2 with a strikeout, a flyout, and a walk in the game. First pitch is high and inside for ball 1. He was able to check his swing. Time called behind home plate as the catcher Carlos Martinez resets signs. And here comes the 1-0. Right across the high outside corner for strike 1, evening the count to the ball and a strike. Gordon so far just standing and watching. The 1-1, he puts it out towards left field, but it will end up being about 10 feet foul. So Gordon's now down 1-2 in the count. Gordon digs back in, looking at a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He's got a runner out there on second with 2 outs. Pitch is high and outside, ball 2, and the deuces are wild. Otters trail by 3 here in the top half of the 8th inning. The 2-2 for Gordon. Again fouls one, this one off to the right side. Miles Gordon digs back in, looking at a 2-2 count with 2 outs and a runner on second. The kick and delivery from Smith. Swinging strike 3 ends the inning. Another strikeout for Miles Gordon. And we head to the bottom half of the 8th. Otters still trail by 3 here on the Otters Digital Network. Bottom of the 8th inning. On deck here for the Evansville Otters and Trois-Rivieres Aigles. Aigles lead 7-4 after a solo shot in the 7th inning. Extended their lead out to 3. Jake Plancic stays in the game for the Otters. He'll be throwing to the 1-2-3 hitters in Campagna, Gutierrez, and Glauda. First pitch to Joe Campagna is a bit high for ball 1. Right away, Plancic sends home the 1-0, and it's right across the heart of the plates. Count evens up at 1-1. Plancic proving that he doesn't want to waste any time on the mound. Now quickly, he's ready for the 1-1. That pitch is left alone for strike 2 on the high inside corner. Just had Joe Campagna stuck in his shoes. Maybe a payoff pitch here for Plancic. Just missing on the high outside corner. So Campagna will dig back in. Now looking at a 2-2 count. Just getting a piece of it was Campagna. He goes back into the netting. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. Wind continues to push out towards right center field as a 2-2 is called. Strike 3 on the high outside corner, and Jake Polancic grabs his second German American Bank strikeout of the game. That one seemed really up there, but Polancic will take it. The Otters will take it. And with one down, David Gauthier steps into the box. He is 2 for 4 with 2 singles. He came around to score after both of them. Then a ground out and a strikeout. First pitch for him here, and he checks his swing, but it's called strike 1 anyway. Polancic waits on the 0-1. Now it's on the way. That one's chopped into the netting. Polancic's ahead 0-2 in the count. No balls, 2 strikes to David Gauthier. Pitch on the way outside. Gauthier won't chase, so the count now at 1-2. The 1-2, again outside. Polancic just lost that one. And the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. With just 1 out, so nobody on for the Aigles. The 2-2, oh boy, that one works way inside. Actually hits David Gauthier on the back. And he is feeling that one as he makes his way out of the box towards first. Shakes off the trainer and looks to be good to go. So with 1 out, there's now a runner on via a hit by pitch as Rafael Glauda steps in. Glauda is 1 for 3 with an RBI single, a walk, a strikeout, and a ground out. First pitch to him this time, and he skies this one towards shallow left field. It's the left fielder Biermann who runs in and makes the play for out number 2. So now the catcher Carlos Martinez will try to do something with 2 outs. He's got a runner on first, and he has had singles in his last 3 at-bats. And he's got 3 RBIs on the day as well. First pitch here is high and away for ball 1. A 1-0 on the way for Martinez. He drills this one to the left side, just barely misses the third base coach. And it gets foul for strike 1, evening the count to the ball and a strike. Martinez has a quick word with the umpire behind the plate, Wes Dunkel, and then steps back in, waiting for the 1-1. Here comes the pitch, and it just carves that high inside corner for strike 2. Nice pitch there from Jake Polancic. So a 1-2 count, 2 outs and a runner on first. Polancic's trying to end the inning. Here comes the 1-2. It stays high and outside, and the count evens up at 2-2 with 2 outs. No sign of any work for the Otters in the bullpen, so it seems to be Polancic for the time being. There's a man starting to warm for the Aigles in right field. The 2-2. This one skied towards center. Gordon will make the long run over towards right center field and haul it in for the 3rd out of the inning. So nothing comes across, and the Eagles, well, the Aigles are holding on to a 3-run lead Evansville down to their last 3 offensive outs. They've got to get it going right after this on the Otters Digital Network. Well, this is it. The Otters down to their last 3 offensive outs, at least for right now. They've got to get something going. Not a bad 3 to start with. Ronnie Allen Jr., Julius Purrier, and Andy Armstrong. Ronnie Allen Jr., though he is 2 for 3 today, and he was also a strong 2 for 4 yesterday with 4 RBIs yesterday. He's just looking to start the bus in this opportunity like he did back in that 3rd inning. First pitch he sees is high and away for ball 1. One-0 count here. That pitch is lifted up and back into the netting. So quickly down 0-2 in the count is Ronnie Allen Jr. Mark Tyndall came out of the bullpen for the Aigles, trying to pick up a save here. Next pitch works way inside, so we count it 2-1. Ronnie Allen Jr. looking at a 2-1. Pitch on the way now, and he swings it way up high. And he's now looking at a 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, and here comes the pitch. That one across the heart of the plate for a called strike 3. Ronnie Allen Jr. looked like he had no intentions on swinging at that one at all. And with 1 down, the second baseman Julius Purrier walks on up. He's 1 for 3 with a single and a couple outs. Purrier has had a difficult time with the Otters. Had 2 walks yesterday. That was the highlight so far of his time in an Otters jersey. Takes a pitch high and away for ball 1 to start this count. Here comes the 1-0. This one again outside, way outside for ball 2. Don't forget that the Otters head home to face Lake Erie this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at Bosse Field. Game starts at 6:30 Tuesday night for Taco Tuesday. Love to see you out there at the field. A pitch right across the outside half of the zone is called strike 1, and it's a 2-1 count towards Julius Puryear. Puryear lifts it up and out of play over the seating area, and he's also facing a 2-2 count. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out for Julius Puryear. No one on for the Otters, and they trail by 3. A pitch outside. No, it's called strike 3 against Julius Puryear. So back-to-back strikeout looking here in the top of the 9th, and the last hope for the Otters will be Andy Armstrong, the third baseman. The Trois-Rivieres faithful trying to get behind their Aigles with 2 outs for Andy Armstrong. First offering for him. Armstrong thinks about going, lets it by for ball 1. If Armstrong can get his way on base, Zach Biermann will follow him. The 1-0. That one catches just the highest part of the zone for strike 1 and evens the count on a ball and a strike. The 1-1. Swinging strike 2 for Armstrong. Chased that one low and away. Otters down to their last strike. One ball, 2 strikes to Armstrong. Pitch on the way. Swinging and missing is Armstrong. And that's how this one ends. Trois-Rivieres wins the series 2-1 with a 7-4 come-from-behind win here. The Otters scored the opening 4 runs in this game. Trois-Rivieres scored the last 7 to take this win and send the Otters back to Evansville, 2-4 on their road trip. A really tough way for that road trip to end. A road trip that should have gone a little bit better for them. And because they were a little short on manpower, it was tough for them to stay consistent in. Otters got it started in the 3rd inning with a 2-run double from J.R. Davis. That was backed up by a 2-run home run from Justin Felix. Well, the Aigles answered right back with 2 back-to-back RBI singles in the 3rd inning, making the score 4-2, still in favor of Evansville. Then in the 4th inning, the Aigles scored 2 more times on a 2-run home run from Kenneth Aigles, tying the game at 4. That tie game held until the 6th inning, so Carlos Martinez earned his 2nd and 3rd RBIs of the game with a 2-run single to left field. That gave the Aigles a 6-4 lead. They got their one last run there in the 7th inning, an insurance solo home run from Kenneth Aigles, his 2nd home run of the game, giving them a 7-4 advantage. With the loss, the Otters drop to 7-8 on the season. They go 2-4 here in the road trip. With the win, Trois-Rivieres moves up to 7-8 as well, and that's going to put them in a situation where they can possibly have that 5th spot in the East at the end of the day. The Otters have only won 1 series all season long. That was the sweep against Empire State. They're in the opening week of the season. Since then, they've gone 1-2 in every series they've seen and are really looking for a powerful series to get them back on the winning side of things. They'll look to do that as they welcome the Lake Erie Crushers to town this week for a 3-game set. The series starts on Tuesday night at 6:35. with Taco Tuesday. Then it continues on Wednesday for a 12:05 game. That 12:05 game is a Senior Connection Wednesday. Individuals 55 years of age or older can get a discounted general admission ticket at the box office at Boxer Field. Then the series concludes on Thursday for Thirsty Thursday. Again, a 6:35 first pitch before the Otters hit the road once again to go face Gateway next weekend. We're glad you've joined us all week long here on the Otters Digital Network as the Otters have made their little tour through Canada. They go 1-2 against Ottawa, 1-2 against Trois-Rivieres. It was nice to see them at least get some strong offensive production here in this game, but it's not enough for them to earn another win. They fall in this one 7-4. They fall in the series 1-2, and will have to head back to Evansville with a losing record. Not at all what they imagined when they took off last Sunday. After this, though, the team will hop on the bus and head back to Evansville, and we will see you on Tuesday evening as the Otters welcome Lake Erie to town for a 3-game set against the Crushers. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Otters Baseball right here on the Otters Digital Network. Have a good evening, and we will talk to you on Tuesday night.